Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are live for the running of, well, you know, the New England 300. There it is at the top of the screen. I was waiting for it. The New England 300 tonight at the New Hampshire International Speedway for the site of race number 19 of 36 on our NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season on our Do It for Dale series on NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. We are getting ready for qualifying. No practice entering today's race, so any of the practice times you see at the top of the screen are all simulated. And as far as the car setup, I feel confident. I actually recorded the New Hampshire race for the Busch Series here a few days ago. That is going to be premiered on Saturday afternoon because I will not be able to stream that Saturday. I'll be going to the Kings Royal at Eldora World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series show, so I will have that up. But because I ran that 200 lap race, I feel very, very confident with the setup in the car going into today's race without having to really practice at all. So like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's coverage. The first time we've done the Cup Series on NASCAR 06 in a week, so hopefully I don't fall off the face of the earth in the second half of the season, more or less, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. We come into today's race 6th in the point standings. You will get to see the point standings on the top of the screen throughout today's event. Let me move that up a little bit. There we go. I might have to move that back down after a little bit to get it situated because I'm not sure exactly if that's going to be covering the rearview mirror or not. But regardless of the fact, it's going to be a fun one today. You'll get to see the point standings on the top of the screen. I have a bunch of other season stats on the screen as well that I've been keeping track of from the start of the season. So there you go. It took me it didn't take me that long because I've been keeping the track of the stats all season. I figured I'd show those for the second half of the year, so that way you guys know going in depth who the favorites are for the championship as we get into the final 18 races of the season. Wade Selinsky, Joshua Rumsey, Jasmine Williams, Emery Holly, Caleb, and Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being the first in the chat down below. Derek Booth, welcome as well. And we'll get tonight's race underway, but first, qualifying is set to begin for Dale Earnhardt Jr. We'll see if he can run a pole time today. 300 laps, 300 miles around the Magic Mile. Of course, ran at this track on NASCAR 21 Ignition for a full race last week, so that's why I wanted to wait a week before this Cup Series race so there wasn't oversaturation of New Hampshire action on the channel. But nonetheless, I'm excited for the second half of the year. Dale Jr. still got a shot at the regular season standings. He had a big race at Chicagoland. He finished third, but was able to creep up in the standings just a little bit. Not so much on the points leader, Carl Edwards himself, as Edwards actually won that race. It was the 4th win of the year for Carl Edwards. Earnhardt still has the most with 7. We're looking for a little bit more consistency, and he's got almost a full race worth of points over the 11th place driver in the standings, so he's probably got a 1 race buffer. He can have a bad race and still be able to make it in somewhat comfortably to the chase. We are running down to the wire, and on the first lap, it is going to be a pole for Dale Earnhardt Jr. I will say the car feels a little bit... I'm going to take a little bit of the downforce out of it. I'm going to knock the rear spoiler down a couple inches. I was going to say, it felt a little too edgy. I guess I was fine for qualifying because I was able to sit on the pole, but it was a lot better handling in the Busch race than what I remembered, at least from the Cup Series. Of course, the Cup cars have a little bit more horsepower, so that plays into effect also. Alan Williams, welcome to the stream as well. Got a couple of Williams. I don't know if you guys are related or not, but welcome. Breaking news on Reddick's situation, might be third car 2311. Is that actual breaking news, though, or are you just saying that? Because I haven't heard anything about it. I mean, yeah, it could be the third car. I mean, it's either going to be the third car or he's going to be replacing one of them, so it's a 50-50 shot. Here we go. The green flag is going to be in the air. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will lead them at Loudon, and we are underway for another NASCAR Nextel Cup Series event on NASCAR 06. Live on KRC today. And it looks like Earnhardt's going to be able to lead lap 1. He got a great jump on the start. Kurt Busch was able to fill the void for second place, who started third on the inside behind Dale Jr. I was able to get around Tony Stewart as well. At least in the top 5 in qualifying are all drivers that are currently in the top 8 in the point standings. Javon Davis, that's right, thank you. I forgot, my bad. Yeah, MIS in a couple weeks, I can't wait either. Won't be going to that one. How many years do I think Harvick's got left? Honestly, he's slowing down a little bit, but he's not... He could still compete for wins if he was in a little bit better equipment. I think SHR has fallen off a ton over the last year and a half. But there's not really much else he can do as far as going somewhere super competitive that's just as competitive or even more competitive out of what spots are available in the Cup Series too. Unless he could get another Trackhouse opening, but I doubt Trackhouse would go for a guy like Kevin Harvick. I did not get my tickets yet. I still don't know how many of my family members are going, so I have to hold out on that. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. Dale Jr. going to lead the first 5 laps today. He's already pulling away out to about a 1.7 second lead. Car definitely feels a little bit edgier, though. What I'd like, at least early in the run. So hopefully as the tires start to wear out, it's not going to be overly dramatic in either the loose or the tight department. I feel like if it loosens up over the longer run, that's where Dale Jr. is going to find himself in trouble. But if it gets tighter over the long run, then I think it'll be all right. Just because he's a little bit looser right now. Loose is fast if he can hang on to it. And right now, this 8 car is a rocket ship from the get-go. Chances of Stenhouse replacing Reddick at RCR? Very unlikely because Stenhouse signed a multi-year deal with JTG Doherty Racing. Multi-year extension, so that means he's going to be racing there through at least 2023 and 2024, and that 8 ride opens up in 2024, so I don't think it'd be Stenhouse. I think he'd be a good fit, but I don't think that he is going to be the guy taking over just because his contract would overlap with when the opening for the 8 car comes about. I look at a guy like Daniel Hemrick, though, if they want to give Hemrick another shot. If RCR didn't already burn that bridge with Hemrick, because they only gave him 1 year. He won the Rookie of the Year, and then they kicked him out. So I would definitely not blame Hemrick if he's a little resentful on that, but I think he would be a good fit, especially if you're looking for a guy with, you know, some sort of experience. I know he only ran 1 year in the Cup Series, but the guy's in his early 30s. I believe he's in his early 30s. Or at least if he's not yet, he will be by the time 2024 rolls around. So I'd probably say him. I think you need to get another veteran in that car, though, to help the organization. I don't think you can... I mean, even unless Austin Hill sets the world on fire the second half of this season in the Xfinity Series and next year in the Xfinity Series, he's obviously a really, really good super speedway racer, the best, in my opinion, in the Xfinity Series right now. But I don't think that's going to warrant a Cup ride. If he can get a little bit more consistent on the intermediate tracks and show really good potential on the road courses, I do think he can get that Cup ride. They may give it to him regardless of the fact, but I feel like it's better to go after an established veteran already. And see, that's the hard thing. It's just trying to figure out the rest of the contract situations, because there's a lot of guys in the Cup Series that are either already signed through 2024 or their contracts expire this year, and there's no ride open this year at RCR. So that's where the problem comes into hand right now, to try to plan for who's going to take that ride. It's going to be a full year and a half process of them trying to figure it out. And it's going to be a while before that name is announced, I'd have to imagine. John Hunter Nemechek, that would be a good one too. And you wonder what Nemechek's going to do next year, because he's not as good in the Truck Series this season, or not having as good of a season as what he was last year. But is he going to do another Truck Series season after this year? I wouldn't think so. I mean, that's 3 seasons in the Truck Series after he was in the Cup Series for a rookie season, in which he, in my opinion, overperformed in front row equipment. I mean, he outperformed Michael McDowell that year, and look at what Michael McDowell did last year and this year. So that's actually pretty good as it is. And he's in the Toyota pipeline too, because he was with Ford, but then he left them to go to Toyota, and that was right about the time 2311 started up. So that's also going to be interesting, because if Reddick's going to be a third car at RCR, or at 2311, rather than take over for maybe retired Kurt Busch or over for Bubba Wallace, if they run 3 cars in that operation, that only leaves 1 more spot open in 2024 at 2311 if they wanted to go to another car, because you can only have 4 cars in the Cup Series. Would Nemechek take that ride, or is there somebody else that would already take that ride that might be ahead of Nemechek in the pipeline? I mean, who's to say that 2311 can't get another veteran on that team after Kurt Busch retires or something of that nature? Denny Hamlin, what if he goes there? You know, I mean, that there's not really many more opportunities or open doors, I guess, for Nemechek like he probably originally expected when 2311 was only Bubba Wallace. Because now you have Kurt Busch and at least Reddick in a couple years, so that's going to be interesting. Nemechek for the 10 car. He's been rumored for SHR. I think that'd be a good fit, but it's weird though, because he was with Ford and he literally just ditched them for Toyota 2 years ago, so it'd be weird to go back to Ford that soon. I think he'd be a good fit for him, but it's just kind of... I just feel like if that were the plan, he wouldn't have left Ford. I think after Zane Smith, or before Zane Smith went to front row and Gilliland went to the Cup Series, why wouldn't have Nemechek stayed with front row then if he wanted to go back to trucks? So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, personally. No, I don't think Newman would come back. I don't know who said Newman. Dark Crypto. Welcome to the stream, Dark Crypto. Furfur Express, welcome to the stream also. I don't know. It's a slippery slope. I don't think Newman's going to come back into the Cup Series. Though he really, really declined after his terrible accident in the 2020 Daytona 500. Because he pointed his way into the playoffs in 2019, the year before that. Then he came out, even with that wreck, finished in the top 10 of the Daytona 500. I think he only had like 2 other top 10s the rest of the season. After that, when he came back in the last 32 races, he had 2 top 10s, and one of them was at Talladega, if I remember correctly. So I just don't see Newman coming back. And then he performed a little bit better in 2021, at least in the point standings, but I don't think he had that many top 10s. I think he only had like 4 of them again. I don't see him coming back. I think the SRX Series is a good fit for him, honestly. He's not too far retired from the Cup Series that he's competitive there on a week-to-week basis. But he's not competitive enough in the Cup Series. Plus, you got to imagine, too, everybody that's raced the next-gen car this year is going to have a 1-year advantage on anybody who would come out of retirement, for that matter, to run in the Cup Series full time. It'd be very, very difficult to catch up to those guys in a single season or 2. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Greg Franklin, Rod G, welcome. 4.5 second lead for Dale Earnhardt Jr. already, as he has led the first 21 laps from the pole, this time by at the line. He is easily looking like the one to beat here tonight. The short tracks have gone well for him in the Busch and Cup Series. That has been his strong suit. And if he can perform very, very well today and potentially get a max points day to start the second half of the season and get his 8th win of the year, He's looking to close in on that regular season championship battle even more with Carl Edwards so he can be the #1 seed when the chase begins when we come back to New Hampshire in the fall race. 7 races to go until the chase when the checkered flag flies tonight. And the good thing for Dale Jr. is he won at Pocono the first race there. And we'll be going back there for the next race. So a couple of really good racetracks for Dale Jr. coming up. He also won the only road course race of the year out at Finion. Watkins Glen will be coming up in a couple races. So I think those are, if you count today too, 3 very winnable races that could get him to 10 wins in the regular season. It's 192 points out of first, so he will not be able to take the points lead away today from Carl Edwards no matter what happens, even if Edwards DNFs. And Edwards only has a 72-point lead over Tony Stewart, so even if he DNF'd, I feel like Stewart would take the points lead away. Junior would probably still be right around over 100 points back as long as Stewart has a good finish. And Stewart qualified second, so he's definitely got track position towards the front of the field. But nobody is keeping up with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now. It is a very, very strong race car for this 18. And they're still ways away from lap traffic, so he is enjoying the clean air while he is out in front. Over Gordon, my bad, not Stewart. Yeah, you're right. I have the point standings on the top of the screen. That's probably why you know. Thanks for paying attention to that. Work hard on that thing. And it's still 20-20. I was off of work today, so it's pretty easy to get that up this morning when I got out of bed. I made sure that was the first thing I did. It's like, get that out of the way so I don't forget or don't have enough time to later. And while I was at it, I updated the regular season standings and the playoff standings for the Daytona regular season finale on NASCAR 21 Ignition tomorrow night. So I'm trying to stay ahead of that stuff so I can give you guys extra graphics throughout the course of these full race live streams going forward. 5+ second lead for Dale Jr. already. It's almost kind of looking like Chase Elliott at Road America a couple weeks ago when he just got out to this gigantic lead early on. It was untouchable. Junior's led over 1,100 laps coming into this race today, so theoretically if he leads all 300, he'll be just shy of 1,500 laps led on the season after today's race in 19 races. Looks like there's a very tight battle going on for second place. You look on the top right-hand corner of the screen where the track map is, they are really bunched together. Panda Express for dinner, there you go. They got some good food there. Drove it in really hard, got it to stick in the middle of the corner, kind of diming in the corner off that time through 3 and 4. Lap 30. The big thing today is if there is going to be any cautions. And another big thing is going to be how will the fuel mileage pay into effect in this race, because it could potentially be a 2-stop race today. And it does seem like on the short tracks in particular in this game, for whatever reason, it seems like I have less laps that I could run during a full fuel run, as if I burn fuel quicker than the rest of the field. That's going to be something to watch if this race goes green. We have not had a caution-free Cup Series race yet this season. The way things are getting spread out, at least at the front of the field right now, you just never know. And obviously that could play into effect potentially some varying pit strategies. I'm sure Junior's just going to want to keep the track position as much as he can, knowing he has the lead. But also you can say that, well, he's got this fast of a race car. If he does have to go back in traffic on fresh tires, he'll get through there even quicker. But it's still dangerous to be in the back of the pack, especially on restarts. Yeah, Panda Express pretty good. There's one about 20 minutes from where I live. So they've eaten there, not like regularly, but kind of a once-a-month thing. It's like, I'm feeling Panda Express. There's actually a couple local Chinese food restaurants that are within probably like 15-20 minutes from here that are pretty good too. Say if Gibbs were to enter the Cup Series, he'd take MTJ's ride. I would imagine. I feel like Gibbs talked Truex into staying for one more year just so he could keep Gibbs in the Xfinity Series, get him a little bit more experience with just trying to stay level-headed and then get back into the Cup Series. Because obviously he's got the talent to run the Cup Series right now, but the on-track mistakes he has ran into at times, he can harness now instead of just throwing him and feeding him to the wolves and having a Chastain-like season this year where he'll be fast to compete for wins, but he's going to make a lot of people upset in the process. You don't want that if you can help it. So to keep him in Xfinity another year, that would be the plan. And pretty much the plan B is if they can't get Kyle Busch back in the 18 car, then Gibbs would take over the 18. I don't see that happening, though, only because I do think Kyle Busch is going to land a sponsor. I mean, it's Kyle Busch. I know it might be hard for teams to maybe want to sponsor him just because of, you know, the name recognition. When people think of Kyle Busch or hear the name Kyle Busch in NASCAR, even if they don't watch NASCAR regularly, if they've ever watched NASCAR before or know anybody that watches NASCAR before, they would probably know the name Kyle Busch and not for the right reasons. So that is where it can be hard to find a sponsor if you're the 18, but he's just so good, he'll find something eventually. Even if it's a few sponsors that kind of throw like 8 to 9 races together at a time to fill the season, I think that'd be fine. Because obviously he's got help from Interstate Batteries as it is right now. They run with him for a few races. Didn't he run a race with like Stanley on his car for a race or two last year and this year? So I'm sure they'll pick up. I think he ran DeWalt as a sponsor once this year. So he probably has like a third of the schedule of sponsorship already. They're just looking for another 2/3 to 3/4 of the season. And they're not looking for the full season, I would have to imagine. So that makes it a little bit easier. Monster Energy was associated with him for a long time. I don't see why. And they're associated with Kurt Busch already too, so I wonder if they would step up their partnership and sponsor both Busch brothers, to be completely honest. I feel like that can be a reliable sponsor, at least, like I said, if not the rest of the season, just another 8-9 races. I could definitely see them being a partner with Kyle Busch next season. They sponsored him before, and they sponsor Kurt Busch currently. I feel like that's a very logical one. And Rowdy Energy could step up and sponsor, but because that's Kyle Busch's company, that's basically him funding his own ride. So I don't think he's going to want to do that, but if he absolutely needs to for a few races, I feel like they will for at least a couple races, but I don't think he's going to like that, though, because that's basically coming out of his paycheck. Joe Gibbs Racing. So that's probably more unlikely, but I do think Monster Energy would definitely be a good one for him. Reese's sponsors him next year. Yeah, you keep the Candyman nickname if that's the case. Stanley DeWalt, Interstate Batteries. Or a Guns N' Roses shirt for the occasion. Oh, I missed what your occasion was. And I missed my corner because I was looking at the chat at the wrong time. It's alright. 7-second lead, and Junior's able to keep it off the walls. Keeping the race car clean, 40 laps in. Honestly, there's only a few songs I really care for Guns N' Roses. I never really got into them when I was growing up. Them and AC/DC were like the two bands that, even though I listened to a lot of classic rock growing up, and from time to time I still go back and listen to it, that I never really, like, cared for too much. Like, the classic rock bands I listened to, preferably growing up, like if I was able to play the music, if I was thinking of classic rock, I'm more like, I guess, Motley Crue, Skid Row. If I go back even further back in time, Aerosmith. That was a really big one that I'd listen to a lot. There's a lot of other ones. Scorpions is a good one. Funny you say that. I actually have my Trivium shirt on today. The Who? Yeah, they're not bad. I don't know what I feel like with AC/DC, all their songs sound like identical to each other. That's probably the main reason why I didn't care for. That's my dad's favorite band, so whenever he hears me say that, he kind of gets upset. But like they just sound the same. I feel like once I've heard one, I've heard them all, which I pretty much have heard a lot of their songs, but still, like there's only a couple of them that like just stand out to me as my favorites, but they still sound similar to the ones I don't like, so it's kind of, yeah. Bon Jovi's a really good one. Of course, we talked about them a while back. Obviously Metallica, but I wasn't a huge Metallica fan when I was growing up. I mean, I knew like any song they would play for Metallica on the radio, but that was all I knew of them. Then when I was about 15, 16, when I first started getting into metal, they're still my favorite band. But like them, Megadeth, like even though it's classic rock, it's still thrash metal, and it's definitely something I listen to. I mean, I don't think it falls under the categories of classic rock necessarily. I mean, classic in the sense that it's more than 20 years ago, but like Stone Temple Pilots would be another band that I really like from a long time ago. That's like leaning more towards the grunge side of things, but it's... Which I don't really care for grunge too much, but if I had to pick a band, they're really good. I really like their stuff. Grew up with Duran Duran. CDC has two different singers. They do. I mean, that's the thing with metal, though. That's the one genre. Like, I'll listen to classic rock, but even, like, old, like, thrash metal, like, I'll listen to that just as often as I listen to a lot of metalcore stuff now. Like Judas Priest. Those were like my gateway bands when I was first getting into metal. Obviously Metallica, like I mentioned, Megadeth, Anthrax. We don't usually talk music on the channel, but with a gigantic lead growing in the early going of today's race. Oh yeah, Linkin Park. I grew up on Linkin Park. I grew up on a lot of nu metal though too. It was always classic rock and all the nu metal bands like Linkin Park, Disturbed, Limp Bizkit. All the late 90s into like early to mid 2000s stuff. And that stuff I still go back and listen to now also. I mean, even the stuff I grew up on before I primarily listen to now, I listen to a lot of music pretty often, but there'll be like a random day where I'm like, you know what, I'm feeling 80s, I'll just throw a bunch of 80s music on. A bunch of glam metal stuff, and even like 80s pop music I listen to. That's like my, what do they call that, dirty pleasure? That's like my dirty pleasure music. That's the music where I'll listen to it and it'll be mixed in with like others stuff I'll be listening to. They're like, how do you listen to, trying to think of like Bonnie Tyler and then go to go to listening to like Metallica or something. I'm like, I don't know, I just do. I got a soft spot for the 80s. I think the bot in the chat also has a soft spot for the 80s. By the way the comments are, probably have a soft spot for other things. Just over 50 laps complete today. Yeah, Dale is certainly doing it today indeed. 9-second lead. Now, he's got the pace to have over half a lap lead on the field by the time the first pit stops come around. That's one thing that's going to keep the rest of the field engaged, though, is if we get cautions, try to have some offsetting strategies. I think you're just going to have to do opposite of Dale Jr. Jr. pits, stay out, keep the track position, make him work. If he stays out to keep the track position, then you have to pit, personally. The bigger he can have of a lead before the first set of pit stops, too, that's going to erase the chance of him going a lap down if a caution comes out in the middle of green flag stops also. And he's made it past lap 50, so it's definitely going to be a two-stop race today for Dale Jr., no problem. New country is better than classic. I don't really care for country. My sister listens to like a lot. I mean, she kind of listens to a little bit of everything, honestly. If there's somebody in my family that does, she would probably be the one. There'll be some stuff I listen to that she listens to, but then a lot of it she doesn't. And she'll listen to like any generic stuff that you would think any teenage girl would listen to now. Top of like new and old country too. It's kind of weird. Well, it's not weird, but very diverse is the word I was looking for, I guess. I guess what I listen to is probably weird to most people. I'm forgiven. Not listening to country. I don't know. I just like stuff that gives me. I mean, that's one thing I really like about metal. It's workout music for me, and my workout music is my everyday music because if I get such like an adrenaline rush from it, it just gives me pumped for things. So I like listening to it when I'm working or something from home. Or keeps me motivated. Just faster paced music. Dubstep guy? No, I wouldn't know any big names on the dubstep scene. See, a lot of people my age, I feel like, listen to a lot of rap, and I don't. Very, very little, if ever. On the rare occasion, I'll listen to, like, but it'd be older stuff, though, from, like, the 90s into the, like, the early 2000s. It wouldn't be anything within the last 15 years, usually. Do it, Joji. Welcome to the stream, though. I think the big thing of why I don't listen to dubstep is because I have such an appreciation for people that can play instruments. So it's got to have an instrument in it at least. Beast Mode Vader, welcome to the stream. Dale Jr.'s been working through lap traffic for the last few laps. He's got just over a 10.5 second lead currently. He's led the first 61 laps from the pole right now. Terry Labonte going down the track to try and side draft him. Earnhardt will lap him at the start-finish line and clear him. Past halfway through the fuel run right now, but Jr.'s pacing well enough to be able to make it on 2 stops with ease today. And as he works through lap traffic, he might not pull away as quickly from second place because he's not dealing with the lap car, whoever that is right now. in second. Mike Bliss not having a good run today. He is about to go a lap down as he is outside the top third. Actually, it might be Kenny Schrader in the Red Baron car. Let's see when I get alongside. The 2005 PS2 graphics are throwing me off. I thought it was Mike Bliss for a second. I was going to say, he's 10th in the point standings right now, and it is Kenny Schrader in the 49 car. I haven't seen him run that Red Baron paint scheme too much this season. Usually he's in the Schwann's car. I saw the black and the red and automatically thought it was Mike Bliss. It's got instruments, bro, but there's just a... I mean, like, electronic bass is, like, the only thing I can get into. Like, there's some bands in metal now that use, like, electronic instruments to it. But they also have, you know, everything you would orchestrate with, like, a rock band on top of it. So there's just noise everywhere. Just all made on a software. Yeah, but it's not somebody, like, actually playing an instrument, though. I guess the big thing is like, well, I was going to say anybody could do it, but anybody could pick up a guitar, too. I feel like to master something like that is nowhere near as long of a time as what it would take to master a guitar. Man, big block by Ricky Rudd in the 21 car off turn 4. He almost got turned. Dale Jr. ran into him. That's the first bit of contact Jr.'s made with anybody in today's race. He hasn't hit the wall at all yet either. I mean, if you listen to it or like it, by all means, it's just not up my alley. Still requires music theory. Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's still songwriting that goes into it. I don't want to, like, diss on those guys. I mean, they're still talented. They could still do better at it than I do, than I can, but it just doesn't intrigue me like what I just mentioned. In contact with Shane Neal in the 08 car now. Can't even listen to dubstep, just mention it because you said, oh. I was going to say, if you listen to dubstep, then you should listen to Motionless in White's new album, because I feel like you'd like it, but never mind if you were just trolling in the chat. That's probably the closest I'd come to listening to dubstep. For anybody that's heard any of their new stuff. Hardline? I've never heard of them, to be completely honest. I'm not gonna lie. I probably have, I just, off the top of my head, I can't, like, picture them. Melodic rock. What are other, like, melodic rock bands? I guess probably like I think of, like, melodic rock bands. I think of basically anything from, like, the early to mid-60s to now. I mean, it's melodic, like, even heavy stuff to me is still melodic because, to me, I don't know, it's kind of hard to define, like, melodic. I feel like that, anything melodic is really opinionated, I feel like. I don't think that's something you can pinpoint, like, that's melodic and that's not, because it may not be to you, but it can to other people. Poor Seth was really pinching Dale Jr. on the racetrack. Jr. was scared to get into the throttle off the exit of the corner, trying not to make contact with the 36. Borset's going to give Dale Jr. a lot more room in turns 1 and 2 this time, and Jr. will clear him off the exit of the corner. Play drums. It's pretty cool. like, I've always wanted to play guitar, but the music I listen to, it's like, I would want to get a guitar to play that music, and I know it's going to take so long to be able to play this stuff that like, it would take years to learn it, and I don't even have that much time in the day now. I just can't, I wouldn't be able to dedicate myself right now. I almost wonder if it's one of those things where if I can, like, work full-time YouTube or something where I'd have 40 extra hours on my hand, essentially. Well, maybe not 40 extra because I'd be putting more time into this, but I would definitely have extra time outside of working, like, a full-time job that maybe that's when I would start. But the older you start, though, the harder it is to get the hang of it, too, so I don't know. Wallace was side drafting Dale Jr. a little bit off the exit of the corner. First half of the straightaway he was, at least. Martin Truex Jr., Dale's teammate, about to go lap down here soon. Truex is 17th in the standings coming into today's race. He's really got to pick it up big time in these final 8 races before the chase if he's going to want to get in his rookie season. Off the exit of turn 2, Earnhardt really low. He's underneath the 31 car of Jeff Burton. Burton in line behind the 38 of Elliott Sadler. Junior will clear Burton off the exit of turn 4. Underneath the 38 car. A little contact with Sadler in the M&M's Ford. Looks like Truex is holding up Mark Martin, Sadler, and Jeff Burton just a little bit. I think Sadler got the wall off turn 2, and Burton got around him off the exit of the corner. I'm not sure if Burton got into him or not. And Junior will clear his teammate Truex off the exit of turn 4. So they're going to battle for the free pass position now. Still caution free as well in this one, lap 77, hence the big lead for Earnhardt. 12.5 seconds, on top of course, having a fast car. Billy Carjoy, welcome to the stream. Oh, trust me, I've thought about playing iRacing, but it's kind of the same thing with what I mentioned about, like, ever getting a guitar. But what I want to do on this channel right now, I would sacrifice so much time for iRacing because I want to actually do it and be good at it. And I just don't have the time on my hands right now to do that. Down the line, I will definitely get into it, but now's not the time. Playing NASCAR Heat 4. It's the best game in the Heat series. Which means it's the best NASCAR game we've had in about the last 6 or 7 years. I've never played the Technics game, so, I mean, it might be better than all those. It's probably not, but a lot of newer fans would probably like it over that because a lot of their favorite drivers would probably be in Heat 4 versus any of the Technic games. I mean, it might be in some of them, but it depends on who you root for, I guess. Over $1,000. Yeah, but you could get some for cheaper. Like, the nice ones are probably that expensive. Jamie McMurray all by his lonesome self right now. R6, welcome to the stream. I will not miss trivia tonight. We still got about another 70 laps until that. I do have my question already for you guys, so I won't have to pause it tonight when we get there. Dale Jr. going to put JB Mack a lap down now, the 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. Probably going to be getting really, really close to only a quarter tank of gas left in this opening fuel run for Dale Jr. He's definitely going to take this as long as he possibly can before he pits, just to see if there may be a caution at all. 14-second lead. Gonna alternate through the different camera angles for the first time at today's race. Haven't seen Michael Waltrip yet. He's probably having a good run. Needs it. He's only got a couple top 10s this season. 20 people watching right now. 15 likes currently. Hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already. Watching the New England 300 live on KRC today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is putting a beating on the field right now. Maybe he'll go wire to wire in a Cup Series race for the first time this season, and for the first time for me on NASCAR 06 in the Cup Series. He did it once in the Busch Series back at the Dodge Raceway. He led all 300 laps in that short track race. Different style, short track than this 1 mile flat track in New Hampshire. It's a little bit faster down the straightaways. A lot faster considering how much longer it is. Dodge Raceway, a little less than a half mile. Nemechek still fighting on the outside right now, but off of turn number 2, Earnhardt will be clear. Looking for the dive down underneath the 18 of Bobby Labonte as he hooks the yellow line all the way through the corner. And he has cleared Labonte now on the front straightaway and rides behind Sterling Marlin in the 40. I see Michael Waltrip just a couple positions ahead of Earnhardt right now, at least on the racetrack as far as towards the tail of the lead lap goes. A giant pack of cars still to go for Earnhardt over the next handful of laps. Drives it in deep into turn 3, he'll clear Marlin. What are the odds Mike Bliss makes the chase? Very small, like 16. Yeah, it's going to be tough because as of right now, he's only a couple points to the good on both Ryan Newman and there's another driver. It's about to come up on the screen. I'll see here. I think he's only a couple points ahead of Newman, and then there's somebody else who's within a couple points as well. And considering the equipment Bliss is in, it's amazing he's even made it this far. But 10 top 10s on the season, definitely helping Bliss out. 10 or 11 of them. He doesn't have many top 5, so he's not really competing for wins, but he's just consistent. That's all you need to get into the chase in this era of NASCAR. It's not about how many wins, it's just all about consistency. Michael Waltrip just went a lap down a little bit ago. Point for either him or Bobby Labonte. Hey, maybe they can both make it. Carl Edwards running a little bit outside the top 10 right now. I don't know who that is calling me. Don't recognize the number. Maybe I want a free trip. I just got to give him my social security number and credit card number, and I'll win a free trip to the Bahamas or something. Jarrett with a little bit of a block in the middle of the corner. Earnhardt beats him back to the gas. It just got underneath him. Contact with Jarrett on the front straightaway now. Kenseth throwing a block. Rusty Wallace in the 2 car. Junior overdrove the entry into turn 3 just a little bit. Slides underneath Kenseth as Wallace is going to be able to clear the 17. Now he's running way off the bottom of the racetrack, though, trying to keep the 8 car behind him a little bit longer. Junior's just too fast, and Rusty never had a chance to hold him way back. Earnhardt has cleared Wallace easily off the exit of turn 4 rather. There's Mike Bliss in the 0. He's got a good show going for him early on today, even though he's in danger of going a lap down right now. Battling Kyle Busch for position. Jeremy Mayfield, Travis Kvapil just in front of them. 3 wide into turn 3. Down on the bottom is Earnhardt. He now drives underneath Mayfield off the exit of turn 4. A little contact with Mayfield in the 19 car. And clears him. And Bliss also got around Kyle Busch for position as well. Battles Mayfield for the free pass spot now. And they'll have to battle Travis Kvapil if he goes a lap down. Which Junior is about to lap him. Not quite going to get underneath him that time through turns 3 and 4. Off the exit of the corner he will, though. Really low exit for Dale Jr. Oh, problems for Martin Truex Jr. That might be scheduled pit stop time, but if not, Martin Truex Jr. has an issue. He is on pit road, and it does look like there are other cars pitting, so I believe Truex is the first of a few drivers that are going to hit pit road, try to gain some track position if we cycle all the way through. So these guys are really pitting early, not even at lap 100 yet, so they're banking on there being a caution at some point in time by pitting right now, because otherwise it's looking like it's going to be a 3-stop race unless they can make it at least 100 laps into the run. I may have played Dirt to Daytona before, but honestly, I can't really recall it. I don't think I ever have. I've been watching Winval's play through the series, though. The way the AI races in that game almost is a little bit reminiscent of NASCAR 21 Ignition. It's ridiculously hard. But granted, that was back in, what, 2002 versus 2021. I'm not saying that NASCAR Ignition is a better game. If anything, I'd say that NASCAR 21 Ignition should be better because it's being compared to a game that was not great physics-wise back 20 years prior to it. Vickers is the next car in front of Dale Jr. Definitely gonna have to watch to see if any cars in front of Earnhardt are about to hit pit road. We'll go back to the far chase cam until Earnhardt makes his first stop. He's got a 21-second lead, but we've seen quite a few drivers pit. I'll probably be able to gain those guys a little bit of time if second on back is going to start the pit. Dale Jr. is underneath Brian Vickers in the 25 right now into turns 3 and 4. Little contact in the middle of the corner. Vickers might have tried to pit. That's why he was crowding Earnhardt. He wanted to get to the bottom. That contact shifted the 25 car even wider, and he's going to have to stay out at least one more lap. It's not much better since the update. I can tell you that firsthand. Thank goodness I only have 11 races left. Done, what, 6 races in the last couple weeks? I'm just trying to get it done. Trying to push through it. We'll go back to it again tomorrow night to finish up the regular season on our final season of Ignition in the Daytona night race. 400 miles, 160 laps. That'll start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And that'll be the last video game live stream of the week. So there'll be no live stream on Saturday, and then Sunday will be the live stream of the actual NASCAR Cup race at New Hampshire. Live commentary for that one. Lap 100 at the line. We'll have 200 left next time by. Junior continues to lead. He's led every lap so far. Was 10th in points entering today, yep. And he's not that far behind Kenseth and Harvick either. So he could easily gain a couple positions as well as potentially lose them. It's crazy how tight 8th through, what, 12th in the point standings are right now back to Newman. Especially Labonte. More cars on their way into the pits. Jeff Gordon going to pit. Earnhardt slides off turn 4, trying to get back into the throttle. Oh! Clips Scott Riggs in the 10 car, just trying to pull back up in line. He mistimed it. Don't want to be involved in a caution because then you can't pit for fuel or tires. And there are still cars on the lead lap. Plus, a bunch of field back together, and you probably end up losing all the spots of cars that are one lap down as well. He has to pit on a restart or a little after a restart. He's got a 1-lap lead on the field off turn 4 that time. There's Gordon coming out of the pits down on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll lose another lap for the time being until he can get back up to speed and perhaps try to get around the 8. Junior making contact with Kyle Petty. Some of these cars are just running them really tight off the exit of turn 2. And that has led to a lot of the contact that Dale Jr. has had in the opening fuel and tire stint of tonight's race. Ryan Newman in the 12 coming out of the pits now. Billy, how much did you get the game for when you bought it recently? Curious as to what it's selling for. What console too, if you don't mind asking? They're trying to put Biffle another lap down. Even these cars that have came out of the pits already, Junior's keeping up with, if not passing them. He's just got a really good car today. He's taking care of his tires too. This has to be the fastest car Dale Jr. has had this Cup Series season. It's his race to lose. I've had my fair share of chokes over the last couple weeks, so let's not choke this one away. You argue last night at Michigan was one that potentially got away too. Potentially. Still finished 4th. I mean, just in the last Cup race on this game, Junior finished 3rd at Chicagoland, was leading with about 3 to go, but lost the lead to Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon. Edwards went on to win. Junior was on a little bit older tires than those two to the end of the race. He was just trying to hold on a varying pit strategy and just couldn't do it. Probably got to clear Stewart now. I think Dale Jr. is the last car that still has to hit pit road. So some drivers are definitely going to be able to make it on 2 stops, but others will have to pit 3 times in today's race. Just because they pitted so much before lap number 100. Lap 92 was the first we saw cars hitting pit road. So Dale Jr. is going to pit at lap 109. He's not going to risk it any further than that. He'll stay out this time by, and he'll pit the following time by. And he had a big enough lead, even though he's given up time on older tires right now. I think he is still going to have the lead when he cycles out of the pits. Oh, caution! At lap 109, right before Earnhardt pits, and that's going to trap the field a lap down. Perfect timing yellow for Dale Earnhardt Jr. One car into the tire barriers at the front of pit road, bringing out the yellow. I can't tell who it is. It looks like it may be Kevin Harvick, who is just inside the cutoff line coming into today's race. That is problematic for the 29, as it looks like he is going to be out of the race. Assuming that smoke is from an engine failure. So caution's out. Dale Jr. can pit during the yellow. Some drivers will be able to take the wave around, but I think this is going to trap the field a lap down. And Dale Jr., perfect timing caution for him right there. Some other cars are going to come into the pits to maybe top off, especially those who couldn't make it on 2 stops today. Try to get back on the same strategy as the race leader. No adjustments, 4 tires of fuel for Earnhardt, first stop of the day. One car would have gotten the free pass. Green flag is going to be back in the air. Jimmy Johnson got the free pass. So he is back on the lead lap with the caution. All the lap cars on the inside of the lead lap cars. On the restart, contact between Gordon and Earnhardt off of turn 2 as Junior's trying to get back to the bottom. Gordon may be trying to hold up Earnhardt for his teammate Johnson. There were some cars that beat Dale Jr. off of pit road as well to maybe get 1 of their 2 laps back, but I don't think anybody 1 lap down had got back in the lead lap other than Johnson. But again, Johnson was in the free pass position. So Dale Jr. still led every lap today. The lead is going to be close, though, because of literally only 2 cars on the lead lap now with that caution coming out. Dale Jr. was the last car to hit pit road, and I think that's why Jimmy Johnson pitted, mainly because he was going to get his lap back anyway. So get fresh tires. He's back on the same strategy as the 8, so we definitely know he can make it on 1 more stop, and we definitely know Dale Jr. can make it on 1 more stop as well as we restart at lap 114. Luck is better in NASCAR 6 than NASCAR 21 ignition. Yes, it is. Well, I will say I got really lucky at Michigan last night, though, in NASCAR 21 ignition, for those of you that watched. Michael Turner, welcome into the stream. Yeah, I had a couple late cautions. I would have been unlucky if I didn't get any. And I got 2 lucky cautions late in that race. I ran out of gas. Caution came out when I was trying to limp it to pit road. I already went a lap down, though, with limping it to pit road when the caution came out. So I restarted the lap down. Got my lap back on fresh tires. And then another caution came out with, like, I don't know how many laps are left. Like 11 laps left, 12 laps to go. Restarted with 6 laps left in the race. I had fresh tires, got up to 4th on the restart, and that's where I ended up finishing. Could have stayed out on older tires at that time of the yellow, but I didn't feel I was going to have a good shot to win. And either way, I don't think I was going to have a good shot. In hindsight, I wish I would have stayed out because that might have been the best shot to go to victory lane. It was kind of a lose-lose scenario, at least for winning the race, but a win-win scenario and getting a good finish, which I finished 4th. So it was not looking like I was going to get a top 5 there for a while. Top 10 even. Toxic Punk Young Boy, welcome to the stream. 17 likes on the stream right now. Smash that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We are on lap 120 of 300 right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads the way. We just had our first caution of the race at lap 109, and it was for Kevin Harvick. Smashing the tire barrier at the front of pit road. It looked like he had some sort of an engine or tire failure that caused him to do that. Whatever the case, I think Harvick is out of the race. Dale Jr. trying to pull away on this restart. He by far has the fastest car in the race. The only chance somebody's going to have of beating him is if they could get the track position to either take the lead and force Dale Jr. to have to pass the car with the clean air, or just have a late race restart and beat him heads up that way, because Jr. didn't struggle on the restart, but it took him a little bit of time to get around the lap cars, the 2 of which that passed him on the inside initially on the restart. Him having that outer lane, luckily he was able to get to the bottom before Jimmy Johnson, who's the only other car in the lead lap now, with that caution coming out before Dale Jr. hit pit road, but after the rest of the field already made their stop. I don't think everybody hit the pits that time, though, so it's going to be interesting to see when the second set of stops end up starting and how that will play into effect. Any more cautions we get is going to get another car back on the lead lap and put more involved in the finish of this race and trying to pull off what would pretty much be an upset at this point if anybody but Dale Jr. won, just because of how strong this 8 car is. And it doesn't look like Johnson, at least in second place, was able to somehow close that gap between himself and Dale Jr. during that yellow. Rusty Wallace in 20th? Yep. Yeah, he's the only Wallace in the Cup Series, so I didn't specify if it was him or Kenny. Oh, yeah, my bad. Kenny Wallace is in the Cup Series in this game. I'll make sure to put RU. My bad on that one. I forgot Kenny Wallace is in the Cup Series. I was thinking he was only in the Busch Series for some reason. We haven't seen him up towards the front. I don't think he's got a single top 10 this year. Michael Waltrip Racing. 00. It's definitely not Bubba Wallace. He was... I mean, he was probably... What, only a couple years old? Well, yeah, I mean, he was probably more than a couple years old. I don't even think he was a teenager yet at this time. 2005. Yeah, this is Rusty Wallace's final season. So if he wants to make the chase in his final season, he's going to have to pick it up. And he did actually make the chase in real life in his final season, so it's kind of sad to see him not running particularly well this year. Ethan, welcome to the stream. Next race I'm going to go to in person. Next NASCAR race will be Michigan in August for the Cup Series only. So that'll be the next NASCAR highlight live stream from the Grand... Or not live stream. Highlight video from the grandstands. The next grandstand highlight video, though, will actually be for me this weekend. My next vlog will be me going to the King's Royal at Eldora. Saturday night dirt track race. Gonna be my third dirt race this year. I went to Dirt Bristol. Well, 4, I guess, if I count the truck series the night before. So, Dirt Bristol Trucks, Dirt Bristol Cup. Went to my local dirt track a few weeks ago, and now I'm going to another sprint car race this weekend. But this is a big one, though. This is the second biggest World of Outlaw sprint car race of the year. I still haven't looked up to see what the purse is to win, but I think it was 100 grand or 200 grand. One of the last couple, over the last few years, which is honestly really big. In a form of motorsport that isn't NASCAR or IndyCar in the U.S. It's a big race. The only race bigger than that as far as sprint cars go would be the Knoxville Nationals next month. I'd want to go there some point in time. I'd also like to go to the Chili Bowl sometime too, but definitely won't be within the next calendar year I'd go to any of those two. Chili Bowl would be hardest though, just because it's in January. The likelihood of snow, I'd probably have to fly there just for that reason. I'm gonna get a hotel room. I don't know. I'm still working a full day that day, so it depends on how tired I am. I'm not gonna book anything, but if I'm like tired by the end of the night and don't feel I can drive 2 hours on the way home, then I'll probably book a hotel room. Like if I have to drive like a half hour, I'll book a hotel room for the night or so. It's probably gonna be a late night though. I'd have to imagine the race probably won't get done till 11, midnight-ish. I don't think there's any rain scheduled for this weekend. Tulsa Shootouts is a big event. I mean, it is at the same place, but it's not like it's not the Chili Bowl though. Like Eldora's got a couple other big races. Like they have the notorious big one. Well, I don't think it's called that anymore, but they have a fall World of Outlaw race in September every year too. But then they have a big 100-lap World of Outlaw late model race there. I think on the same weekend too, and that's like the biggest late model race in the U.S. is that one. But the King's Royal is the biggest event they host. Like Knoxville has the Truck Series now, but I'm not going to go there for a NASCAR Truck Series race. I'd only go there for the Knoxville Nationals. That's about an 8-hour drive for me to get there too, 8 to 9 hours. So I definitely wouldn't want to go there for a standalone truck race. It's just not worth it. Although I do think this year's truck race is pretty good, all things considered. 10 times better than last year's race. Man, that's like a cold front compared to what you guys have been getting, Mark, temperature-wise. Probably feels like winter. All right, now Martin Truex Jr. has an issue, and this time he is dropping back like a rock. See that red X on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen? That is indicating that Truex is having some sort of a mechanical issue, and he has likely blown an engine and is trying to nurse his way to pit road currently. We'll see if that's going to end up warranting a caution if he can't make it into the pits. He's trying to get down to the bottom. Looks like he's in turns 3 and 4 right now. And he could not make it to pit road that time. haven't seen him hit the pits yet. He's still riding around out there currently. The World 100, that's what it's called. Yep. Couldn't think of the name for a second. I think it's called the Four Crown National now. It used to be called the Notorious Big One, the fall race that they always have for the World of Outlaws towards the end of their season at Eldora. Now I think it's called the Four Crown National, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the same thing. They just had a World of Outlaw race at a dirt track like 50 minutes away from where I live on Tuesday night, I want to say, but I had to work Tuesday and then I had to work Wednesday, so that just wasn't going to happen. Otherwise, I would have wanted to go. If it would have been on Wednesday, I would have went after work. I was looking at the chat and almost ended up in the inside wall on the front straightaway. Oh, jeez. I was like still turning even though I was off the exit of the corner. Eight-second lead right now for Dale Jr. over Jimmy Johnson in second place. Again, those are the only two cars on the lead lap. Johnson got the free pass with that last caution that came out, and the only caution so far in today's race back at lap 109. Just over 20 people currently watching. 20 likes on the stream. We've had over 25 people watching at one point already tonight, so smash that like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not already. Live race commentary on the daily, whether it's the NASCAR video game stuff during the week or the real races on the NASCAR race weekends. This weekend I'll be doing live commentary on Sunday afternoon for the NASCAR Cup Series race at New Hampshire. Our pre-race coverage will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The race will be on the USA Network this weekend, so if you don't have USA Network, or if you do have it and watch the race and want to listen to my commentary, you can. I know a lot of you guys do that. Like watching the race with you guys every weekend, seeing your feedback down in the chat, whether you can or can't watch it live as I'm doing the commentary. And should be another fun one this weekend. We've had 4 straight Cup races on the channel where we've had over 600 viewers watch it, so there will be a lot of people there. Definitely don't want to miss it and getting the engagement with hundreds of other NASCAR fans. I have my pick for this weekend for the Cup race already. I'm waiting on practice and qualifying just in case they don't upload quickly. But I pretty much have my pick this weekend. And I do think, as a hint, I think we're going to see another new winner this weekend. That's my prediction. I think we're going to get our 14th different Cup winner this weekend. Belleville was a big race. Took it off the schedule because it was too fast. He talked about for the World of Outlaws. Why not go to the Indy Road Course? I thought about it, but I kind of don't want to. I need a week off at some point in time. I've been going, I want to say, what, 3 weekends in a row I've gone to a race. It'll be 4 this week and then SRX next week. That's Sharon. That's 5 weekends in a row I'm going somewhere for a race. And Michigan's the week after that, so I kind of wanted to take a week off just to... I'll probably end up actually not doing a live commentary, at least on Sunday. I can't remember. I think the Truck Series is at IRP, or Lucas Oil Raceway, in Indianapolis that weekend. So I want to do live commentary for that race. I don't think I'm going to do live commentary on the Cup race on Sunday, because I'm going to go to my grandparents' house and watch the race. I've only seen one race at their house this season, so I want to go back over there and catch another race. I set out 4 races this year that I was going to go to their house when I wasn't traveling or wasn't doing live commentary for it. Last time I did that, I made sure I did live commentary that weekend of it was either an Xfinity or a truck race that weekend back at Richmond. I want to say it was probably an Xfinity race. But I definitely want to commentate that truck race for you guys if I can. It might be a Friday night, though. That's going to be tough. It might be Saturday night, but if it's Friday night, it's going to be kind of tough to do it just because of the work schedule. My neck is getting really stiff right now. I don't know if it's because I worked out a couple hours for it. Got here, I had chest and shoulder day, and my shoulders are sore. I can't put my arms above my head right now. I can, but I can't hold them there. Oh, that was one thing I didn't tell you guys. I can't remember if it was the truck race or the IndyCar race. I think it was the truck race at Mid-Ohio last weekend. I worked out earlier in the... Yeah, it was a truck race because I didn't work out the morning of the IndyCar race. So the morning of the truck race, I worked out, and I got there, and I was doing camera work, and that was actually chest and shoulder day too. And I was there, and anytime I had to hold the camera, I could feel it. So when I was doing the race highlight video from the grandstands, and I would hold the camera on for like 2 to 3 laps consecutively on a road course, that was like 2 to 3 minutes. I was holding my arm up, and that was painful. That was the most painful video I think I've ever had to do physically. I still haven't seen Martin Truex Jr. pull the pit road, so it's very interesting that he's got that red X over him. Wonder what happened. I think Harvick can win this weekend. I definitely think he can be a threat. The Fords have been really fast on the flat tracks over the last handful of years. New Hampshire, Phoenix. And if you look at the 2 races so far this year that have been on flat tracks, Phoenix in the spring and New Hampshire, or well, this will be the first trip in New Hampshire, but Gateway about a month ago. The Penske cars are really fast. Really, all 3 of them were, because I think Cindric had I think he finished 11th at Gateway, if I remember right. I don't think he did so hot at Phoenix, but Blaney led a lot of laps at Phoenix. He won... He either won both stages or he won one stage, but I know he led over half the race. And then he also had a top 5 at Gateway. And Logano won Gateway, and I think he had a really strong car at Phoenix earlier this year, too. Eric Almirola finished in the... I know he had a top 10 at Gateway. He might have had a top 5 at Gateway. Harvick was really good at Phoenix earlier this year, so the Fords have been really good. And I think they're going to definitely be ones to look out for today. And that's why I feel like if either Joey Logano or Ryan Blaney make it to the Championship 4 later this season, I feel like they're going to be threats to win that race and win the championship. I'd probably lean towards Blaney winning the championship of those 2 just because he's been a lot more consistent than Logano this season, even though Logano has 2 wins. You look at the traditional point standings, I think Logano is either 6th or 7th, and Blaney's in 2nd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led every lap today, therefore, as we have just crossed the halfway mark, there has now been a clinching of 10 bonus points for Dale Jr. with the most laps led. Time for tonight's trivia question on the channel. And our New Hampshire track fact and trivia question is this: who is the only driver to win a NASCAR Cup Series race from the pole at New Hampshire multiple times? So who is the only driver to win from the pole at New Hampshire multiple times in the NASCAR Cup Series? That is tonight's trivia question. I think somebody's going to get it right eventually, but if you guys cannot get it by lap 160, I will give you guys the answer. And you get unlimited attempts to try and answer the question, so see who can get it. You don't have to name the years they won, but just name the driver. Who is the only driver in NASCAR history to win multiple races from the pole at New Hampshire? It is not Denny Hamlin, not Kurt Busch. Hamlin's a good guess, though. He's really good here. Not Jeff Gordon. That's probably always a good guess. Oh, so it is a Friday night. Dang. That might be tough. I might not be able to broadcast the IRP race. I'm going to call it IRP, even though it's Lucas Oil. It's either Lucas Oil, I think it's Lucas Oil Raceway right now. Not Boyer, not Richard Petty, not Paul Menard. A couple of people guessed Boyer, not Jimmy Johnson, but R6 did get it correct in the chat. Ryan Newman on his second attempt. He got it. Ryan Newman is the only driver in NASCAR Cup Series history to win multiple races at New Hampshire from the pole. This is definitely one of his best, if not his very best, NASCAR Cup Series racetrack. And the fact of the matter is, he actually did it with 2 different race teams, as he did it once in 2002 as a rookie, and then also in 2011 he won from the pole with SHR. So Ryan Newman, the only driver to win from the pole multiple times in the NASCAR Cup Series at New Hampshire. He was sticking around for it. He couldn't wait for the trivia question, and he ended up getting it too. Didn't get it on his first try, but he did get it. Second try. Yeah, Ryan Newman. 0-2 in his rookie season, and then I don't know what races in both of those years because they ran there twice a year. But I remember looking at it earlier. It was 2002 and 2011. Even though he got the question right, he's still kicking himself. Boyer was a good pick. Boyer actually did win from the pole once in 2007. There are only 5 drivers that have actually won from the pole at New Hampshire. I remember Kyle Busch was one in 2017. Newman twice. Jeff Gordon was one. Boyer, I can't remember who the other one was. What? It's probably Jimmy Johnson. I can't remember who the other one was. There was 5 of them, though. And a lot of the guys that I was just naming that did win once from the pole at New Hampshire, a lot of you guys guessed them. That's probably why you guessed them, because you probably remembered a specific race that they did win from the pole, but not multiple races. 14-second lead for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in lap traffic right now. 3 wide in turns 1 and 2 underneath both of the Petty Enterprise cars of Jeff Green and Kyle Petty. Jeff Green was the driver who Dale Jr. had made contact with quite substantially while trying to win at Chicagoland in the last race that potentially and probably did cost him the win. Well, crossover from Green on his teammate as they run side by side through turns 3 and 4 now, keeping it off one another. Johnson never won from the pole. I guessed him. I might have to pause it for a quick. I don't like pausing it. I want to look to see who that other driver was, because I know there was 5. Who was the other one? Yeah, Kyle Busch 2017. Newman 2011, got that. It was a spring race in 2011. Kevin Harvick in 2006. Harvick in 06 was the other driver who won from the pole. I don't think anybody guessed him. Fall race in 2002 for Newman on the second one. Gordon was in 98. I've only been racing there since 93. Yeah. So that is the New Hampshire track fact tonight. Sorry, I paused it there. It was bothering me. I couldn't remember who the other driver was. I guessed Johnson just because he has a lot of wins in his career. It was Harvick. Yeah, Busch only had 1 pole. Yeah, it was 2017. I remember that year. Remember that race, actually. I'm still curious as to why the red X is on Martin Truex Jr. right now. I'd like to get the first of 2 driver swaps in right now, but if I can't race his Truex, I'm not going to do it yet. I haven't seen him pull the pit road. So I don't know what happened to him. Well, I guess for now we'll just alternate through the different camera angles one final time in today's race then. About the next dozen laps. Still not quite halfway through this fuel run yet. Junior's going to stay out as long as he can, just like he did last time, because he did get a timely caution once already. Maybe it'll happen twice. Well, he wouldn't have wrecked because it was under green. The only caution we've had so far was when Harvick hit the tire barriers at the front of the pit road entrance at lap 109. And we haven't seen another caution since. A 3-0 series lead. I saw your comment in the chat about leading the series over the Coyotes, I think. Can't remember what round you said you were in, though. I think you said conference semis. Highly doubt I'll get a lucky caution flag twice. Well, I did last night. I got a lucky... What is with these lucky cautions for myself? I had 2 of them late at Michigan last night, and the only caution we had today was pretty lucky for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s sake. On top of the fact he's got the fastest car in the field, as if it wasn't going to be hard enough for anybody else to beat him, that only made it harder. Jimmy Johnson in the top 5 in the point standings, though. This is going to be a good points day for him to try and gain on the regular season points leader Edwards. And even though Dale Jr. is behind him in the standings coming into today's race, I don't think there's a chance that Dale Jr. could jump him if Johnson finishes second, even if he doesn't lead a lap versus Jr. already leading the most laps. The win would guarantee a max points day for Earnhardt. One of, I think, only 3 or 4 times he will have them this season for a max points day where he led the most laps and won the race in the same race. Other races he did so were Pocono and I think Talladega was one of them. Probably Martinsville. I know I led a lot of laps there. You're in the semifinals. Junior got ran tightly off turn 4, made a little contact with the car on his outside. Sterling Marlin in the 40. I think that's the second time the 40 have made contact today. Long line of lap cars Dale Jr. is going to have to get through when he closes in on this next pack in front of him. It's probably going to get pretty narrow. I'd have to imagine we're going to start seeing cars pit in about another 20 to 30 laps. Spencer trying to look low underneath the 21 of Ricky Rudd, simultaneously was squeezing Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. powers back to the throttle off turn 4 as he tries to drive underneath the 21 car of Ricky Rudd now in the front straightaway. He is underneath him side by side. Rudd running him tightly into turns 1 and 2. Jr. got all 4 tires down below the yellow line that time through 1 and 2 as he tries to work around Mark Martin in the 6. Apron on this track is definitely not knocking Earnhardt out of shape. one thing I learned from the Busch race that I recorded, that was the case there as well. Whoa, that time he went in a little hot. There is still a fine line where you can get sideways down there, but usually if you get on the brakes a little too harshly and try to power into the corner running that deep, it's when you start to lose a little bit of grip. See the smoke from Earnhardt that last lap. I think he left that bunch of his tire tracks behind. You can see the skid marks from it too. Dale Jr. underneath of Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. And Earnhardt got to clear Shane Meal in the 08 now. His teammate Michael Waltrip not too much further ahead of him. Danger of going 2 laps down. All these drivers are going 2 laps down after getting trapped 1 lap down with that untimely caution earlier in the day. Sadler throwing a blocker. Earnhardt just kind of let him cut down in front of him into turn 3. It's going to be a premiere, likely on my lunch break. I still have to finish editing it, so hopefully I can get that done. Part of why I'm not streaming until 7:30 tomorrow. I was kind of planning on it in case I didn't get done editing it today. I'll have a little bit of time when I get home from work tomorrow to do that. Get that out to you guys on Saturday afternoon. Christian Sasser, welcome to the... No, Charles Sasser, excuse me, welcome to the stream. Almost a 20-second lead for Dale Earnhardt Jr. What a run. Molly Wop in the field tonight. Just one more pit stop still to go. A scheduled 2-stop race. Some drivers have already pitted twice during that caution we had earlier. Pitted for their 2nd time. Try to get back on similar strategy as the race leader, had stayed out longer than anybody else before the yellow flag came out. Big time in yellow, leaving just 2 cars on the lead lap currently, and the only reason Johnson got back on the lead lap is because he was the first car a lap down and was able to get the free pass. And now Michael Waltrip has an issue. So both DEI cars having problems outside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. And I wonder if this is potentially a scheduled pit stop for Michael Waltrip, which it could be. But I'm not entirely sure. That is unbelievable, and that could be the only thing that could come between Dale Jr. and winning this race today is a potential engine failure, knowing that 2 of his teammates, and the only teammates he has, have had issues with that so far. Earnhardt going to get around Rusty Wallace. Now underneath Joe Nemechek off the exit of turn 4. And you can see Waltrip is definitely at heavy smoke right now on pit road, so Waltrip's day has come to an end. I think he was in the top 10. Because I know Kyle Busch was earlier, and he passed Busch right before we put him that 2nd lap down. What a tough break. No, it's not a scheduled pit stop, unfortunately. He's got major smoke coming out of the car on pit road. I wonder if he's still going to be smoking. He's not smoking anymore. They've put the fire out under that race car. That engine has absolutely detonated. Well, that kind of stinks. I'm not going to have a field pass tonight. Still wonder if Truex is on the track. I haven't seen him since the restart, so I'd probably lean towards no. That red X wasn't on him, though, initially after that restart. It is definitely interesting. Start listening for odd race car sound. Chief Teresa strikes again. Wasn't this about the time where it really started getting bad at DEI, about 2005? turmoil in the DEI shop during the week was at an all-time high. Flicks, Oscar Ramirez Herrera, welcome to the stream, guys. What happened to Dale Jr.'s two teams? They have both had engine detonations, so they are done for the day. I know Waltrip blew an engine. I don't know about Truex and why the Red X came over him exactly after this last restart. I would imagine probably the same thing. Maybe it was a transmission. Maybe it was on the restart and he just missed a shift. Santiago Kid, welcome to the stream. Yeah, definitely some sharp turns here. Next race going to be at Pocono. It was a wild one last time we were there. It was a 50% race, though, so it'll be the first 100% race at Pocono this season. And we were just there only 6 races ago. Dale Jr. won that race and led the most laps, despite starting towards the back of the field. So I think he'll have a fast car. He's going to qualify this time around. So you have a better chance of trying to lead the most laps in that race. But it's going to be 500 miles at Pocono, 200 laps. It is going to be an absolutely long race at the Tricky Triangle. It's definitely going to be a war of attrition, especially with the high-rated speeds on the 3 straightaways at that racetrack. Traffic going to come into a big effect. Truex came into the day 17th in the standings. Michael Waltrip 26th. I'll drop back even further, I'd have to assume. Truex only has, I believe, 46 points back to 20th, where Rusty Wallace is coming into this race, so he may fall back to 20th in the standings, if not worse. Doing live commentary this week? Yes, I am. For the Cup race only this weekend, New Hampshire. Plan on doing live commentary this weekend, and then also the following weekend at Pocono next week for the Cup Series. Pit window is going to be open in a couple laps for Earnhardt to pit. He made it 109 laps in the last run before he was going to hit pit road on the same lap the caution came out. He was exiting turn 2. Going to have to watch for other cars pitting as soon as the window opens, but Earnhardt's not going to pit that quickly. He's definitely going to stay out as long as he can. Because Jimmy Johnson's still in the lead lap. Even though he's 25 seconds off the race lead. Definitely the largest lead of the day for Earnhardt outside of when he stayed out longer than everybody else on fuel in the first set of stops. I guess we'll have a couple different eliminations to the camera angle again before the end of the race, considering that Truex and Waltrip are out. So we'll have another one right here, right now. In the second run. Some of the Pocono race at a family reunion. But we haven't had any of those since COVID, unfortunately. We used to have like a massive one where we had a couple hundred of our family members usually always went out there. Another small town somewhat close to where I live. We haven't had one of those, like I said, since before COVID. A lot of people that showed up were a lot of the older family members, so that's probably why. It's usually in the summertime too. It was always around June, July-ish, so I don't know if we were having it this year or not. Haven't had it since 2019. Yeah, that was the last time we had ours. Oh, every 3 years is yours. Yeah, ours was annually. A lot of lap cars right in front of Dale Jr. Faster ones at that. Drivers inside the top 10. Maybe some other lap cars mixed in potentially as well. Definitely going to be the toughest part of the field to try and pass. Jimmy Johnson may be in this pack somewhere. I think he's actually at the front of it. Be interested to see if Johnson's going to pit before Dale Jr. catches him or after, potentially. Earnhardt down low off the exit of turn 2. Carl Edwards, points leader, trying to pinch him off. Big dive into the corner for Earnhardt, slides up in the middle. Edwards barely clears Jeff Gordon off the exit of turn 4, and now he's going to go back down potentially to block Dale Jr. Decided not to. He was clear if he wanted to do it. And he'll lose the bottom into 1 and 2 now. Stewart's going to go a bit wide right in front of the 99 car as Dale Jr. has cleared Edwards, and now he's side by side with Stewart on the back straightaway. Casey Kane fan, welcome to the stream. Loving the content, found you a week ago. Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you're subscribed. Definitely thanks for coming back. That was about that time of the stream to hit that like button if you haven't already, or at least time for me to tell you to. Up to 27 right now. Consistent string of about 35 plus over the last handful of streams on the channel. Even on the video game side of things, greatly appreciate you guys supporting the channel. We got a little loose there through 3 and 4, way down on the bottom of the racetrack. He has closed in on second place Jimmy Johnson, trying to put him a lap down during this long green flag run once again as we went green at lap 112. Earnhardt getting squeezed by Johnson. They're side by side heading to turn 3. Earnhardt with the advantage on the bottom, slides it a bit wide into Jimmy Johnson again. And we've got some cars on pit road right now that are going to be able to make it to the end of this race on fuel by pitting now, likely at least. So that window is open to the end of the race. Although they will have to go longer on this final run than the run that they currently did, so maybe they can't make it. We'll see. So are you saying that you finding my YouTube channel, The Weekend of Nashville, has resulted in Chase Elliott's hot streak the last couple weeks with our live commentary coverage? Yeah, he's won the last 2 races I've commentated because I couldn't do the Road America race because I was at the IndyCar race that weekend on the same day. From Scotland. Wow. Thanks for tuning in from overseas. Overseas from where I live, at least. 100 laps to go, 200 laps down. Junior continues to dominate this race today. He's led every lap from the pole, trying to go wire to wire for the first time this Cup Series season, and trying to really close on Carl Edwards for that regular season championship. Again, 7 races to go. He doesn't have much time to catch him, and a 192-point deficit is quite a bit of time, over 1 race worth of points back. Definitely looking to pick up at least 1 spot in the standings, if not multiple spots today. And Kevin Harvick, again, who was right around the cutoff line coming into today's race, came into this race in the top 10, is likely no longer going to be in the top 10. And that may put Bobby Labonte, who's having a good run so far, inside the top 10 in the point standings. More cars pitting this time off turn 4. Junior driving it in deep, a little contact. Terry Labonte, and I think that's because Labonte was trying to get to the bottom so he could pit, and that was the case. Go back to the far chase cam for now, at least until Earnhardt pits a second time, which he is not too far away. Ideally, he could probably go anywhere between lap 120 to 130 before we're going to end up seeing him hit pit road. Probably closer to lap, 220 to 230. So it's definitely going to be the shortest tire stint to the end of the race when he does end up pitting. as he'll be able to go less than 100 laps. Lap the field just, well, you could thank the caution coming out in the middle of the green flag pit stops the last time around for that. Dale Jr. is the last car to hit pit road and trap the field a lap down. Johnson got his lap back because of the free pass, but that was it. So that is made for a much easier day for Dale Jr. He's had the fastest car in the field. On top of it, don't get me wrong, but that definitely helped in lapping the field. And Johnson pitted before Earnhardt, which I think he already did. There's going to be a shot that he can cycle back to the lead lap as long as we don't get another untimely caution. Chris 270, welcome to the stream. Quick turn left. Yeah, there's a lot of that. 600 times, in fact, in today's race. Jeff Green trying to pit. He about took out Earnhardt. Hit him in the right rear corner panel. I'm surprised I didn't send the 8 car up the track into the wall head on. Remember, if he's involved in an accident of any way and brings out a caution, cannot pit for fuel or tires, even if it wasn't necessarily his fault. Forces me to have to race clean. I've only had this fast of a car every race. This is by far, again, the fastest car Earnhardt has had this season. Thoughts on NASCAR 2003 season in the future? Are you talking about NR 2003 or are you talking about NASCAR Thunder 2003? I may be open to it down the road. I kind of like going in chronological order. I kind of wish I would have probably started with like 02 instead of 04. But Biffle's rookie season was in 03, and the NASCAR Thunder 04 game was kind of it, and I kind of wanted to race as him, try to get him a title in his rookie year, which I was not able to do, but I'll consider it down the line for sure. I can tell you right now, it's probably going to be a while before I get to that, but how often do I stream? Pretty much every night. Unless I'm on the road, which I'm going to the Kings Royal at Eldora this weekend, so I'll have content from Eldora this weekend from the sprint car race. Again, highlight videos throughout the heats and into the last chance races, main events, all that good stuff. If you're not familiar with the channel, I post race highlight videos from the grandstands of the races I go to NASCAR-wise, but this year I've been going to a lot of other motorsport events outside of NASCAR. I mean, I've been going to NASCAR too, but weekends I'm not going to NASCAR, especially lately I've been going to quite a bit. I went to 2 IndyCar races within the last month and a half, Mid-Ohio and then the Indy 500. Local sprint car show a couple weeks ago. I'll be at SRX next weekend. Not this weekend, but the following weekend at Sharon. And going to a World of Outlaw event this weekend. 06 career mode. I don't plan on doing career modes on these old games. There's a lot of other NASCAR YouTubers that do that, so I kind of don't want to follow that. That's just, I feel like that's oversaturation of content, though. Like, I'm already doing full races with every series. I feel like that's enough. 2 seasons of it, nonetheless. Custom schedule season or regular season. I don't want to overdo it. I feel like some people may think I'm overdoing it now. That would really be overdoing it if I did a career mode on top of it. And I could do a career mode in replace of it, but I just don't want to do that. Especially because the career mode in this game is the same as 05 and 07 too. Literally nothing different about it. Plus I get to race as your guys' favorite driver this way because we had the fan votes and the polls in the community tab leading up to all 3 series, which there will be more of those for Season 2 in the custom schedule season. Maybe not for the Cup Series because I'll probably run as Biffle again, but in the Busch and trucks for sure. Junior down low. Underneath the 141, just squeezing by him off the exit of turn 2. I think Dale Jr. is the last car that still has to hit pit road for his second stop of the day. Not sure exactly how far he's going to go. Probably going to go to lap 218, and that would be the scheduled stop. It looks like we do have some cars pitting this time that might not have pitted, and we're staying out in case we had another caution. But now they can't go any further on fuel, so they'll pit currently. Do a Ross Chastain? No. You mean a Ross Crashtain? Is that what you meant by that comment? Don't plan on it. Yeah, I know the fuel warning's there. Trust me, I made that mistake last night, but that's where I draw the line. That was in a completely different game. That was with no telemetry. Junior was on lap 109 earlier, so he knows for a fact he can go 109. He had that caution, too. He didn't actually restart to lap 112. Haven't heard that one yet. What, Ross Crashtain? I thought of it actually on my own, but then I also saw somebody else comment it. I think it was under the highlight video when I was doing the highlights for my commentary this last weekend when I was on NBC's Motorsports' YouTube channel to get the highlights, the actual video of it. I saw somebody post in the comment section. I was like, I literally came up with that nickname, didn't tell anybody about it, and I saw somebody else had posted it. NASCAR Pepsi Cup Series Racing, welcome to the stream. Ace of Spades. I don't know if I shouted you out or not. You've been in the chat for a little bit. Welcome as well. Earnhardt will pit this time, lap 218, as he works his way through turns 3 and 4, down on the apron. Has to get to pit road speed. It'll be the first green flag stop of the day for the number 8. No adjustments this time either. 4 tires and fuel. Hasn't had to make a single adjustment today. Second and final stop for the 8 team. They did make a mistake earlier on a pit stop. The right front tire changer had problems getting the lug nut on, but again, he trapped the field lap down, so it was kind of not important at that time. He's got such a big lead now, probably wouldn't even hurt him either. Front tire changer has had just as many issues as Bubba Wallace's pit crew this season, it feels like. At least in the overlap between the Busch and Cup Series combined, it seems to be the case. So lap 219, Dale Jr. back on the racetrack, still has a 1-lap lead on the field. Johnson was not able to get his lap back in the cycling and green flag stops. So caution still gets him back into it, because if a caution comes out late in this race, he'll get the free pass position. Jr. would be able to restart in the lead regardless, so he may end up pitting, knowing that Johnson will likely end up hitting the pits again as well. Most surprising win this season? Winner itself, or race in general in which somebody won the most surprising way? Kyle Busch, Dirt Bristol. Yeah, that was probably the most shocking way to win a race for sure. I think the biggest upset winner this year, honestly, is Austin Cindric winning the Daytona 500. You look at the speed Trackhouse has had, it maybe came to a surprise that Chastain won as early as he did this season, but, you know, looking back on it, not as much as a surprise. And then with Suarez winning at Sonoma, I don't think that was a big surprise, considering that the Trackhouse teams have been the fastest overall on road courses this year of any other team. I think they both had top 5s at Road America. Obviously, Suarez dominated the first stage at Coda until he got caught up in a wreck because he restarted mid-pack, because he stayed out to keep the stage win, get the playoff point, and sure enough, again, Chastain won that race. And then the second road course race, Suarez dominated the entire second half of the race, got another stage win that day, and also, well, he didn't win a stage, I guess, because he restarted the final stage in the lead and he held on to it, drove away. But then, yeah, they both finished top 5, so I will say that they are definitely the ones to beat at Indy, Watkins Glen, and the Roval here before the end of the season yet also. One of some to beat. Obviously, Chase Elliott will probably be up there. Reddick's ran well in the road courses this year. Briscoe's ran well. Well, he ran well at Coda, but he was non-existent at Sonoma, as well as Road America, which was kind of weird. Might have to pit for fuel before the end of the race. No, I won't have to. I went 109 laps each of the first 2 runs, so plenty good to the end. Junior's only going to have to go 82 laps total. This final fuel run to the end. Yeah, it's just a changing of the guard, though, too. A lot of the drivers that are in the Cup Series that were there yesteryear, they're just getting older. And they're either already retired or getting older, so now that you have a lot of younger drivers that actually have experience nonetheless, too, because you figure a lot of the young drivers in the Cup Series now that are winning have experience. You know, even Tyler Reddick, yeah, he just got his first career win here a couple weeks ago at Road America, but he's in his 3rd season in the Cup Series. So it wasn't like it was his rookie season. You know, outside of Cindric, from time to time having a good performance. Which, by the way, Cindric is having an awesome rookie year. He won the Daytona 500. He's 13th in the driver standings right now. Not the playoff standings, but like the actual regular season standings, he's 13th. I don't think he can get inside the top 10. Actually, he might, though, because there's 2 road courses left. Another super speedway he's ran well at this year. So, I mean, that's 3 races he could have good runs at before the end of the year. Maybe he can get inside the top 10 and get a couple more playoff points that way. Oh, jeez. It's called the Do It For Dale series, not the Do It To Dale series. I think the bots tonight have had a... They're misinterpreting the title of the stream / series we're in. It's over 30 people currently watching. By the way, somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier, but there was an ad, I guess, that popped up during the live stream. I was testing the button to see if it was actually going to work, because I'm going to actually start having... I don't have any sponsors on the channel right now, and I was testing it out for the live commentary live streams. And considering I stream a couple hours a day, I was looking at the revenue for it. Even the streams I get, you know, tens of thousands of views, I'm not really, like, profiting anything, because I don't have any, like, if I'm not getting super chats for a live stream, which I don't beg for money by any means, you know, that's all, like, on your own doing. And I don't have, like, a Patreon or anything like that, so my main source of revenue is ad revenue when it comes to YouTube. So I was testing it out just to see, like, if it was going to work or not. I don't know if it even worked for everybody that was watching. Only one person pointed it out. But I think considering I live stream like 2 to 3 hours every night, I'll probably end up throwing a couple of those in throughout the course of the night. But I tried to do it in, like, anticlimactic moments. Kind of like I did there right after the caution came out. We had the replay of the yellow. Kind of a situation. That's the only yellow we've had so far today. 69 laps to go still. So just kind of like a fair warning on that. It keeps from having more dead air when I'm not talking. Because in these long streams, it's hard to talk consistently over and over and over again. It's like Jackson Storm from Cars 3, Keegan Schneider dominating at New Hampshire. I never watched Cars 3, so I don't get that reference. Picked him because you liked his car, and his birthday's the same day as yours. That's a pretty cool, unique way to, like, a driver. I mean, not the car scheme. I feel like that's pretty normal, but for a new fan. I think Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch share the same birthday as my sister, if I'm not mistaken. I know they share the same birthday with each other. I want to say it's either like the day after or like the day of my sister's birthday, early August. As far as I know, nobody shares the same birthday as me. I'm sure somebody in NASCAR history does, because there's been a lot of drivers, but nobody I would know, at least, off the top of my head. Hardcore Highlights, welcome to the stream. Thanks for tuning in, Casey Kane fan. Yeah, it's probably really late where you're from, considering you're from Scotland, but thanks for tuning in tonight. 65 laps to go currently for Dale Jr. at New Hampshire. He's led every lap in the poll so far. If you're wondering why he has a 1-lap lead on the field, way back on lap 109 was our only caution of the race so far tonight, and it was in the middle of green flag pit stops. In fact, everybody had actually made their green flag stop except for Dale Jr., who was still in the lead, and he had trapped the field a lap down with that caution. Johnson got the free pass to get back on the lead lap. Over the course of this over 100-lap green flag run again, Jr. was able to get back in front of Jimmy Johnson. I'm not sure if Johnson actually had the second fastest car in the field or not, or if he only cycled there because he had maybe pitted earlier than the rest of the field, but regardless of the fact, that's where that caution played into benefit for him and for Dale Jr., but everybody else got trapped a lap down, and we haven't had another yellow since to get anybody else back in the lead lap, and Earnhardt's got a really fast race car on top of it. And it's going to be difficult for anybody else to win this race today. Caution was for Kevin Harvick, who hit the tire barrier at the front of pit road. He is likely DNF'd. We know two of the other drivers who have DNF'd are both the DEI cars of Michael Waltrip and Martin Truex Jr. tonight as well. Right off the restart, so maybe a transmission issue with Truex, and then a blown engine for Waltrip, which we've seen right around the halfway mark. He's still on pit road right now, but has not been able to get his car back on the racetrack. This will be the 8th win of the year for the number 8 car. He came in the top 7 in both top 5s and top 10s this season, so trying to propel himself a little bit higher up in those rankings as well. And came in 7th in the point standings, 192 points out of first as well. So the junior is trying to get this max points day, close the deal out, try to go wire to wire in a cup race at New Hampshire, which would not be the first time ever. Of course, Jeff Burton was able to do that back in the 2000 season, when they had restrictor plates at New Hampshire. Jeff Burton was able to go wire to wire in that race. Considering this is the 05 season, I guess it wouldn't be that many years removed from that race. 60 to go at the line that time. Speaking of Jeff Burton, he is right behind Junior. Junior just passed him and put him another lap down. Burton has not had a great car today, though. Rod G, thanks for the $10 super chat. Oh, caution's out. I was about to read it. Hang on. Second yellow of the race today. And this is interesting. It's going to get Johnson his lap back. That's what he needed. And that's going to bunch the top 2 back together again. Oh, my goodness. We had a fun flag. I didn't know the SRX was officiating this race. Jimmy Spencer has power slid in 1 and 2, bringing out the caution. We have a fun flag. It's a nice SRX race. Junior's going to stay out of the pits here. Johnson's got the opportunity to pit if he chooses. And at least from the sound of the crew chief, he did not pit that time. But he will be back on the lead lap, and it's back to a 2-horse race again with less than 60 to go. Let me pause it real quick so I can read that super chat. Again, Rod G, thanks for the $10 super chat. Keegan, for the hard work. You don't give us... hang on, I read that wrong. For the hard work you do to give us all the NASCAR live streams and videos. Make watching and playing NASCAR game fun. A NASCAR fun, I would imagine you meant game by that. But you can keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the support, Rod. So the lap cars will be on the inside of the lead lap cars for the restart. Green flag is going to be back in the air. 56 laps to go. Earnhardt kind of spun his tires on the restart. Oh, Bliss is going to chop off Earnhardt trying to get his lap back. Look at Mike Bliss up to 4th place. Harvick already having an issue. Jarrett's going to run Earnhardt wide. He's trying to get to the bottom. Now Biffle puts the 8 car in the wall. After that stack up then behind him, he's finally able to get to the inside. These guys roughing Junior up, trying to get their lap back late in the race in case there's another yellow. Well, Junior got a little loose off the exit of turn 2 and wasn't able to get back around Labonte. Earnhardt's got to reel it in here. That was definitely not a good restart, unlike the last one. Even the initial start of the race, he still led every lap. Johnson had to restart at the tail end of the longest line, so he's going to need another caution to probably pull closer to the 8 of Dale Jr. unless he can get through this lap traffic quicker. First fun flag in NASCAR history. That is not the first fun flag in NASCAR history. If you remember all the phantom debris cautions I used to have back before the stage racing era. It's maybe the first one in NASCAR video game history, at least for our channel. Mike Bliss in the top 5. How about that? Yeah, I know. Got a shot to move up a couple spots in the point standings today. Look at Greg Biffle, how low he is running. Down towards turns 3 and 4. Slides clear of Dale Jarrett for position. Heading towards turns 3 and 4. Now, I do think a lot of the drivers that got ahead of Junior in the restart, they might have been 2 laps down, considering how big of a lead Earnhardt had during that last run. The lead is still at 3.5 seconds. Earnhardt's not worried about Jimmy Johnson at all, even with the dirty air in front of the 8. How aggressively these lap cars have raced him so far. Junior still has faith in his race car. Power slide in turns 3 and 4, and as he pulls wide, he is clear of both drivers with that 3 wide pass on Jared and Biffle that time through 3 and 4. My opinion on Daniel Suarez, I think he's a good driver. He's definitely not consistent enough to, in my personal opinion, be a championship threat. And as many years as he's had in the Cup Series now, I know he hasn't really been settled in, and maybe, I mean, this will be his first year, or his first time ever with a NASCAR team for more than 2 seasons when he sticks with Trackhouse next year. So I think next year is going to be a really big make-or-break season, personally, for Daniel Suarez in his career. He got his first career win this year, but can he actually show consistency and be a top 10 driver on a semi-week-to-week basis? You know, be consistent enough to get top 10 points finishes, round of 12 appearances in the playoffs. If he can do that, I think he's going to have a long career and a successful career at that in NASCAR. He'll have more wins to come by. But if he is not able to do that next year, you know, you look at it, it'll be his first year, the first time ever with a 3rd season with the same team, but he has also been in the Cup Series for, what, like 7 or 8 years now as of next year. So if he can't do that, I think you pretty much kind of know what Daniel Suarez is capable of. He's capable of probably just getting a win every season or so. You know, maybe compete for a win from time to time. I think I would put him on the same level as almost like an Eric Almirola, but even Almirola's been more consistent, you know, with SHR excluding last season. Got around Mike Bliss, and Bliss gets right back underneath him. Crossover by the 0. Earnhardt pulling down low, gonna block Tony Stewart. Get back down to the inside into turns 3 and 4. Leaving fate to decide who wins at New Hampshire. Interesting. Gonna say Chase Elliott because every live commentary stream I've watched of Keegan's he's won. This is fair. Should try going to the same race as me in person. I see Chase Elliott win a lot. Him and Larson. Bowman too. Really, all 3 of those guys I have seen win a lot of races in person. I've seen Bowman win like 4 times, and what, he's only got like 7 wins in his career? 8 wins? Seen him win like 4 or 5 times. Larson, most of them were last year, but then I also saw him win at Auto Club this season. And then Chase Elliott, I seem to see him win a couple races a year in person. He only had 2 wins last year. I saw him win one of them at Road America. Season before that, I only went to 3 races because of COVID, and he won the Bristol race I went to for the All-Star race. Seen him win a couple other times before too. Watkins Glen, the Roval. I see Harvick win a lot, but only at Michigan. I've seen him win 3 times, but I've only seen him win at Michigan. I've never seen him win at well, no, I saw him win the Southern 500 also in 2020. Outside of those 3, though. Or 4, I guess. It's the only times I've seen him win in person. Bowman has 7 wins, yeah. So I've seen 4 of his 7 wins. Saw his first win at Chicagoland in 2019. And then last year alone, I saw him win at Dover. I saw him win at Martinsville at the end of the season. I saw him win at Pocono when Larson blew a tire on the last lap. Junior underneath Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. Trying to drive past both Edwards and Mayfield. He's pulling away from Johnson. Johnson's struggling in lap traffic. Earner's probably struggling in lap traffic more since the restart than ever before in the race. But if he can get around Edwards this time, which he is barely clear off turn 40, has cleared the 99 car, and now he can set sail. You're going to the Southern 500 this year. Enjoy it. If you've never been to Darlington before, it's a blast. Definitely one of the better racetracks in NASCAR today. On top of it, though, just even though it's not the throwback race for the fall race like it is in the spring now, even setting the throwback schemes aside when I was there in 2020 for the Southern 500, it feels like an old school racetrack. Like, when you're underneath the grandstands, it almost doesn't feel like you're at a NASCAR track. It almost feels like you're at a local, like, asphalt track kind of feel. Or a local dirt track, under the grandstands at least, before the race starts. Like, it just looks old. It's not very up-to-date, modern, like a lot of racetracks have been, you know, making themselves be over the last few years. With renovations and other things that they've been added to the track. Darlington's kind of one of the originals. Martinsville's kind of like that too. I'd say Martinsville and Darlington are the 2 tracks that are like that I've been to. Richmond probably is like that, maybe. I haven't been there before, but considering that's a short track. Bristol's not. It looks like a football stadium from the outside, then you walk in and it's a race car track. I mean, obviously, you can tell it's a NASCAR track because of all the Bristol signage and everything and the sponsors on the outside of it. It doesn't look like a football stadium. But in the sense that when you're, like, underneath the stadium and stuff, with seats all the way around the track in a perfect circle or oval, I guess, it feels like you're in, like, a football stadium. Been to Watkins Glen. Yeah, I was at Auto Club this year, and I was at Watkins Glen in 2019. That was before I had the YouTube channel. I wish I would have started this channel sooner. It just wasn't a thought of mine at that time. Block words from sections. I did try that actually, Grizz. I've done a bunch of stuff like that before and it's still not working. I will say it doesn't happen all the time. We've gone on a stretch. Well, it's probably been a week or 2 since we've had any. But then we'll go like 5 streams in a row and there'll be like 8 or 9 of them. and then we'll have like a break of like a month or two before they come back, and then they come back, and then they're there for a couple weeks straight or something. It's really inconsistent. I don't know why or how they show up. I see them on other live streams on other YouTube channels too, so it's not like it's just me that's having that problem, unfortunately. Successfully been having. Unfortunately, I've not had success with it. I mean, I'll go back through and update it and stuff. I think part of the reason maybe is because they're using like emojis every single time they post something. So I have to update the block words list. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one, because that would probably feel... I mean, it's still ungratifying either way. 9.2 second lead right now for Dale Earnhardt Jr. over Jimmy Johnson. Those are the only two cars on the lead lap. 32 laps to go this time by for Earnhardt. A lot of clean air and no traffic in front of him after he had gotten around the lap cars that got around him on the most recent restart. Had two cautions so far in today's race. One at lap 109 and one at lap 241 have been the two caution flags. Last one I'd call a fun flag, but regardless of the fact, we had a caution. Yeah, I know. Well, it's crazy, though, too, because it happens on so many people's channels. That's the crazy thing. There's a problem, and they can't... I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know how to fix it, and obviously they don't either. I don't know if they necessarily try to or not either behind the scenes. Who knows? Maybe they work relentlessly on trying to figure it out. Maybe they don't. I'd probably lean towards the side that they don't, but you never know. I don't work at YouTube. I work on YouTube, but not for them. I say I work with a YouTube channel. It's like a... I always tell people this is like my part-time job because I do have a full-time job outside of this. Not my career to work at Home Depot, but I do work there for right now full-time. Worst track in NASCAR? Honestly, being at Pocono last season and having two like instant classic races, that really changed my opinion on the racetrack big time. And obviously it enhances when you're at the track in person too. Honestly, there's no... Okay, Texas. I was going to say there's no track. I have not been to Texas Motor Speedway before. But I would probably say that that is definitely number one on that list. But I would say Pocono isn't as bad as most people would tend to think. And even Indianapolis, when it was on the oval, as far as like the racing product of it itself, I think strategy races are okay in NASCAR. If you only have a couple strategy races a year at purpose-built tracks where that could come into place, like Indianapolis on the oval with the Brickyard 400, Pocono, yeah, you're not seeing a lot of side-by-side racing, a lot of passing, but that doesn't mean it's bad, you know, racing. Like, racing's not all on the driver, in the car. Because if the best driver and the most talented driver won every single race, then it would look like probably Formula One in a sense, where literally the best drivers are winning week in and week out. And a lot of that has to go down to equipment too. And that's one thing too with motorsports. Like, it's the combination of having a good car and a a great car, great driver. That's what builds the championship team. And obviously you have to have the surrounding pieces around it, like a good pit crew and that. Because even if you threw like Kyle Larson with Bubba Wallace's, you know, team, for instance, with their bad pit crew, he's not winning any races with that pit crew. Or very little if he does. He's won one race this year with Hendrick Motorsports. Bryce, welcome to the stream. This is on the PS2 that I'm playing on, and this is NASCAR 06 Total Team Control. Do it for Dale Series. Trying to get Dale Earnhardt Jr. his first career Cup Series championship. He never won one in his NASCAR career. And had a fan vote before I started this game on the channel. And you guys voted for me to race this Junior in both the Busch and the Cup Series on the seasons here. So this is kind of our classic game played through. A little throwback Thursday this evening. We'll go back to NASCAR 21 Ignition tomorrow for the regular season finale at Daytona. 12.2 second lead now for Earnhardt. Definitely the most dominant race he's had this season. Just over 20 laps to go currently in tonight's race. And he has led every lap from the pole. Looking for his 8th win of the season. It's been a really strong year. I believe this is going to be the 10th top 5 of the season for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. So he'll reach double digits there. Kind of fitting Pocono's next on the schedule for next week's race, and NASCAR's at Pocono in real life there as well. So the timing of it's pretty good. Not sure what day we'll have that race next week, but we'll have that sometime leading up towards the weekend. Don't like Richmond? Yeah, but the way the track is now, though, it lends itself towards strategy with how worn out the track is. That's one thing Richmond has going for it, is that there's so much tire fall off. Just as much tire fall off there than anywhere else. I think Richmond, Darlington Auto Club are the 3 tracks on the schedule that have the absolute most tire degradation of any other track. Just because of its old surface. I think, Richmond was last repaved in 2000? Throwback Thursday, yeah. I just gotta... I mean, I didn't come up with that name. I'm not trademarking it by any means, but I figured it's the only day this week, at least, that we're playing NASCAR 06, live streaming-wise. The Busch Series race will be premiered on Saturday on the channel for this game. Again, I cannot live stream Saturday, but I want to give you guys some content that day and give you guys a Busch Series race while I'm at work, actually, at the time. So I'll probably schedule it for noon is what I'm looking at scheduling it for. I'm on my lunch break. Midday stream. I don't want to premiere it at night because I'm going to be watching some sprint car racing at night. I definitely know I won't be on my phone then, nor will I probably have the reception at Eldora. That place is out in the middle of nowhere. I think Bowman will win at New Hampshire. He's not my pick. He typically hasn't had great... Hendrick Motorsports in general has not been good on the flat tracks of New Hampshire, Martinsville over recent years. Well, I'll backtrack Martinsville, but New Hampshire they definitely have not been good at. And they were not good at Gateway earlier this year either. So I'd probably lean towards Hendrick Motorsports as a whole probably not doing too well this weekend. Like, I'm sure a couple of their guys might finish in the top 10, but I mean, that's given it's Hendrick Motorsports. But I don't think they're really going to be... I'd be shocked if multiple Hendrick Motorsport drivers are competing for the win this weekend. I think this track is going to land in the Ford hands, and then you might see Kyle Busch or Truex for Toyota that ran decent at... Well, Kyle Busch obviously competed for the win at Gateway, so I think he could definitely be a contender. Truex, I think, ran top 5 most of the day also, so he could be a contender as well. Bell's been good there, so I wouldn't count Toyota out of it necessarily. but I doubt. I will say for the record, you'll hear it from me now, I don't think a Chevy will win this weekend. I'd be shocked if a Chevrolet won this weekend. Got Cody Ware winning this weekend. That most definitely will not happen. He's going hardcore with his pick this weekend, too. It's in his channel name. 15 laps to go. We'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of tonight's race. No field pass in today's race, unfortunately, with both Truex and Waltrip DNFing right around the halfway point, if not shy of that today. Truex definitely DNF'd in the first half of the race. Waltrip right around the halfway point, give or take, on the exactly what lap that happened. Had quite a few DNFs, though. Definitely not the only two. Harvick's out of the race. Maybe there's some other drivers out as well. Cody Ware, very underrated. Hey. To each their own. Contact with Travis Quaffle. Earnhardt tried to take it 3 wide. I think the junior needs to be careful not to wreck his race car this late in the going and just give Jimmy Johnson a free shot at the win. Don't want to cause a caution either. Fuel is in yellow. Yeah, that's about halfway. We'll be plenty good, though. It may get to the red before the finish, but even if it does, we'll be plenty good. 82 laps. I'm not sweating it at all. Rod G says Ford. Yeah, I'd lean towards Ford winning, but I wouldn't be surprised if Toyota won. I'd be surprised if a 2311 Toyota won, just because I don't remember Kurt Busch, at least in recent years, doing particularly well at New Hampshire. I don't think Bubba Wallace is going to have a great run this weekend. And honestly, I don't even think... well, Denny Hamlin's had good success there. If a Toyota would win, it's probably going to be a Joe Gibbs Toyota. That Chastain will wreck someone. It's possible. Ross Chastain. Ten laps to go this time by 16.5 second lead for Dale Jr. over Jimmy Johnson. Dominating race for Earnhardt. Trying to go wire to wire and make NASCAR history today. Leading all 300 laps and 300 miles of today's race. Only 2 cautions per incident so far. 10 laps to go. And barring a late yellow to spark things in a late battle between Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson. This is Jr.'s win in the bag. Nobody has been on his level all day. Those first couple laps after restart are the only thing, the only chance anybody has even had a chance of sniffing the lead. There'll be no lap cars on the inside of the lead lap cars as we have now less than 10 laps to go at the line if we do get another caution. This would be the shortest green flag run of the race if it stays green to the finish. Only 57 lap green flag run. The first 2 green flag runs were both over 100 laps, with the longest of which being 128. 112 and 128 lap run. Or sorry, 109. We went green at lap 112, so 109 and a 28 lap run. Thoughts on Keselowski. As far as this season, I'm shocked at how poorly that team is. I mean, Chris Buescher's outrunning him this year. And I don't know if it's that Keselowski is, you know, newer to that team than Buescher, and maybe that's why Buescher's outrunning him. Because even if Keselowski didn't have that penalty, I think Buescher would still be ahead of him in points. Like, Buescher's borderline top 20 in points. And Keselowski's only got 2 top 10s all season. And one of them was at Sonoma just a few weeks ago. Underdog pick Corey LaJoy. On a non-super speedway, I don't know about that one. Yeah, I mean, maybe Keselowski could steal a win at Daytona in the regular season finale. And even if he does, he's going to be a waste of a playoff spot, and he'll be around a 16 exit. The team has just not been good. Five to go. Well, Jimmy Johnson's on the lead lap right now, so if Junior wrecks, considering I have to punish myself at pit if I'm involved in the accident, then if we don't get another restart, that would mean that Jimmy Johnson would win, and if we do get a green, white, checker restart, Junior would have to get around him on the restart. He'd restart behind him. Obviously, he'd still be towards the front of the field, and third place would get their lap back as well if a caution came out. If they're even one lap down, they may be two down. Not entirely sure. Let's just not have... Oh, my goodness. I was going to say, let's not have that happen. We just had a glitch off turn 4. Rear tires came up off the ground for Earnhardt, slammed back down on all 4, and almost lost control. Haven't had that happen all race. That was strange. We've seen that on NASCAR 05 and NASCAR Thunder 04 at this track, but that has not been the case all 298 laps until just then. And Junior's going to stay extra wide this time. He's not going to be able to. He's underneath the 121 car this time. That was very strange. You can see the tire marks for that slide. 2 laps to go. That, right as you mentioned it and I was answering that question, I was like, let's just not let that happen. And then the game almost made me wet my pants. Good heavens. Johnson closed in about a second that lap, too, with that big slide off turn 4 for Earnhardt. White flag in the air this time by 1 lap to go. No cautions on the final lap, so Dale Jr.'s got this race on lock now. He's not even going to attempt to pass Kenny Wallace in the 0-0. He'll just stay behind him. Final time through turns 3 and 4. Kenny Wallace going to actually give Dale Jr. plenty of room. Crowded him in the middle of the corner, but Dale Jr. will lap him in extra time, I guess. Checker flag in the air. Dale Jr. will win his first career race at New Hampshire in the New England 300. 8th win of the season for the number 8. Doubling Carl Edwards' total with 4, who was coming into today's race with the second most amount of wins. Well, Johnson was a lap down, but he got the free pass during the second yellow and got back on the lead lap because he was the first car lap down. Yeah, I had about a 20-second lead. Cloud of smoke on the front stretch right now as Dale Jr. has won. And now I've slammed the wall. I can't back up. Oh, well. Dale Jr. has won today at the New Hampshire International Speedway. We'll take a look at today's finishing results to this race. Wow, how about Jeremy Mayfield with a 3rd place finish? That's a good run for him. I think that's his first top 5 of the season. He's had a few top 10s. Let me look real quick. That's a second top 5, my bad. Second top 5 for Mayfield, but not used to seeing him towards the front of the field, so good run for him. So Dale Jr. leads all 300 laps from the pole, dominating race. 21.1 seconds was the margin of victory. 3 laps ahead of Mayfield in 3rd. With that caution coming out in the middle of green flag stops and all the things that transpired into that. Jr. just being flat out fast today. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the race. Jimmy Johnson finishes 2nd after starting 4th. Jeremy Mayfield with a great run, finishing in 3rd for Evernham Motorsports. Carl Edwards, points leader, ended up with a great day too. 4th place finish. And Mike Bliss gets a top 5 once again this season. That is going to be Bliss's 5th top 5 of the year. Greg Biffle finishes in 6th. Tony Stewart in 7th. Dale Jarrett 8th. Bobby Labonte 9th. And Jeff Gordon will round out the top 10 today. I believe that is the 15th top 10 for Gordon this year. came into the day with the most. Wow, there was a lot of DNFs today. I didn't realize there was that many. So Michael Waltrip was the last car that DNF'd, and that was at lap 176. So Waltrip DNF'd, Martin Truex Jr. DNF'd, Boris said DNF'd, Kevin Harvick we saw had an issue. He wrecked out of the race. Kenny Schrader blew an engine. Scott Wimmer blew an engine. Kyle Busch blew an engine. I think that's Kyle Busch. Casey Kane blew an engine. Casey Mears blew an engine. And Jason Leffler blew an engine. I'm not sure if that was Kyle Busch or Kurt Busch that blew an engine today. Kyle Busch was in the top 10. It's only K Busch. I wish it was KY or KU. Because none of them finished in the top 10, I don't know exactly which Busch that is that blew an engine today. The one that didn't start 35th, I don't know where they started. So 10 DNFs. It's quite a bit. Dark horse for the chase. Yeah, Mike Bliss with the top 5, adding on to his great season so far this year. I think that's his 12th top 10 of the year now. And here is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane today. We got the red hat backwards for Dale tonight. I did that on purpose, actually. Got my Red Wings hat on. That's the only red hat I have. But got the Detroit Red Wings hat on backwards. And we see Dale Jr. in victory lane with his hat on backwards today. That was good luck, I guess. Maybe I should do that more often when I'm racing on this Do It For Dale series. So next 4 races on the schedule, we've got the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono, then we have the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis, followed by the Sirius at the Glen at Watkins Glen, the GFS 400 at Michigan. So Pocono, Indianapolis, Watkins Glen, Michigan, a lot of big tracks coming up over the summer stretch of the schedule for the next 4 races, and we'll go to Pocono next week for that 500-mile event. That is going to be a test of endurance, to say the least. Both on the engine. We're probably going to have a lot of DNFs. I was surprised we had 10 DNFs at New Hampshire, even though we only had 2 cautions. 2 hours, 33 minutes was the total time on the race today. It wasn't long. And forget the point standings on the top of the screen that you currently see. These are the updated point standings. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Why am I only 182 out of... I'm confused. Edwards finished in 4th. I only gained 10 points. I must have had... Oh, I was 212 back. I was thinking I was 192. I was going to say. Okay, so we gained 30 points on Carl Edwards today. Edwards obviously still had a top 5. He grows his points lead out to 98 points over Jeff Gordon now. It was 72. So Carl Edwards, good win. Good points lead for him. Top 3 still within 1 race worth of points. Tony Stewart is 148 back at 3rd. Johnson moves up a spot in the standings with a 2nd place finish. He goes from 5th to 4th. I think Kurt Busch was the car that DNF'd. I don't think it was Kyle Busch. Because Kurt Busch fell outside the top 5. He's now back to 6th, 271 out of 1st. So I think Kurt Busch was the one that DNF'd, not Kyle. Greg Biffle finished to 7th. Mike Bliss up 2 spots in the standings now to 8th. He's 409 back. Bobby Labonte, he came in outside the cutoff line. He moves inside the top 10. And Matt Kenseth now 10th in the standings ahead of Kevin Harvick. And he has, if I do my math correctly, 62 points over Kevin Harvick right now. Which, again, 190 points is most he could score in a single race. So that is still pretty tight. Newman only 3 points behind Harvick even, so he would be 65 back. And then a big gap back to Sadler in 13th. But it is going to be a tight race pretty much from Bliss through Newman for these final 7 races of the regular season. Mike Bliss trying to compete for a championship this season. I doubt... it'd be a miracle if he can make the chase considering the guys behind him. He's got a former champ, 2 former champs, so Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth behind him. A future champ of Kevin Harvick behind him. And Ryan Newman, who was really good in the early to mid-2000s, also just outside the top 12. So we'll see if he can hold on. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you guys in the next live stream. That'll be tomorrow night. NASCAR 21 Ignition at Daytona for the regular season finale on the Coke Zero Sugar 400 under the lights there. That will start at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you for that one. Like and subscribe again for more daily NASCAR content. Have a good rest of your Thursday night, everybody, and we'll get the weekend kick started strong with a little action at Daytona tomorrow night.